What it do? It's your boy, your man, your friend Chispees. How we doing? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Uh, Doing pretty good myself. It's stream on consecutive days, so that's pretty pog. Uh, yeah, I just finally have a little time, and I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom came out, and the real reason why I'm here is because it's a pain in the ass to grind. So that's why I'm not playing that. Jesus Christ, that thing's creaking like my knees. Yeah, not much to it. Go ahead and check out all the YouTube stuff, all that fun stuff. We're going to be getting a sideline speedrun out very soon, hopefully within the next week and a half or so, USPS permitting. And check out the podcast that just dropped today. We talk about surgeries, I think cheese, maybe just pancakes. I don't know. And sushi, rice, and stuff like that. So definitely check that stuff out. And then today we're going to play some PowerWash. I had to come back to it mainly because I don't, like I said, I don't want to grind anymore. I just want to turn my brain off and just babble into the void. So that's really what I'm going for here. Uh, Now I'm playing with mouse and keyboard this go around because I'm trying to get better at that. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll see me up on the E League stands. Actually, absolutely not. You will never catch me at any of those things. Like I might watch highlights of those things, but I really can't take those guys seriously. Yeah. With all that, check out all that fun stuff. Let's get into it. Alright, so like I said, we're starting out fresh. I played this before, but I want to start out fresh because I think I had already beat the game because I was also playing it like offline, like just on my own. So yeah, but hopefully you all are out there doing well. A couple things I wanted to talk about. For one, I don't know about y'all, but I was always really big about. Wow, that is super loud. Oh, I can turn it down in my ears. Um, I don't know if any of you guys actually sit down and like watch comedy shows or anything like that. Like, comedy shows sounds like it's fucking stupid. Uh, like comedy specials, I should say. Like that's one of my favorite pastimes. Like to sit down and even if it's not like a great comic, but just sit and see like how they write their jokes. I'm very interested to the human condition, I suppose. And it's nice. Like that's the biggest thing about having comedians. I think it's a lot about like relatability because a lot of people, I mean, comedy is subjective, so you're really just going to want to talk to the people that, you're friends with. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of your friend group has the same humor, and when somebody doesn't really share your humor, that's when it feels as though like, oh, we can't be friends because you don't get me on. Like, this is when I feel so happy that I'm willing to make this god awful noise, like, and you don't get that level of excited with me. Like that's when it starts to be like, yeah, I can't be friends with you. And honestly, I feel like if we all just had a good sense of humor, the world would be a better place. And I think that's what a lot of comedians talk about like now. They're like, oh man, if everybody could just take a joke. And I'm like, there's a difference between a joke and then just being mean. Because if you don't know any better and you go into like a comedy show and you really don't understand what's happening, you just think there's just some asshole on stage like being mean for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's like you don't understand that he's trying to be funny. Like it's awkward. Like just watch one and be like, oh, this is just a monologue. Like let's say for acting or something. Like you don't know if he's being funny. You just know he's talking. And like this is just a monologue. I'm not trying to be funny here, but someone might think that's funny. That's why I think it's hilarious that comedy is such a very main exploded on there. That's why going back to it, comedy is just so subjective, and you can't really say like there's some things that are objectively funny, like I don't know. Well, I guess there's not, right. I was gonna say like someone shitting their pants from laughing so hard, but then they're like, oh no, that person's pants. Like what if it was like somebody's got to throw the extra bit into it. Nobody can just sit there and be like, oh man, that guy shit his pants and just laugh. They can't just let it go. They have to think like, oh no, what about his, you know, dry cleaning or something? Like it's gonna be a mess, and you're just like you're putting so much into it. Just be cool about it. Just laugh, take it for what it's worth, and move along. There's just, I know it's a human in us to be like, oh, this means something, but does it? Not everything means everything. We can just kind of relax, and we can just be chill about everything. We don't have to add our 2 cents. Maybe something's just cool. But that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And a lot of people, like, you'll see a lot of these kind of smaller, uh, comedians, and you really don't know. You don't know them. They're not headlining anywhere. They're not doing anything. But to you, they're the funniest goddamn people in the world. But they just weren't. I mean, it's not even really given a chance. But nobody's. I guess nobody has given them a chance because nobody knows them. And you could be like, oh, well, it's bad marketing. It's bad this. It's bad that. I mean, to a certain extent. But, I mean, YouTube exists. It's just an oversaturation of the market. But I mean, that's, you can argue the same thing on Twitch, on YouTube, on, being an influencer on fucking Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. All right. Everybody's trying to be one, and then every dickhead thinks that they have, 100,000 followers. Like, that is actually people and not just a bunch of, 90% bots. Like, they don't have. It's delusional, to say the least. But on the second side, or on the other side of the coin, or I guess dice, I should say, because there's a number of different perspectives that can go along into this. Wow, that wasn't clean at all, but sure. Is like, you have to kind of fake it till you make it. So, you can talk a big game and all that, but at some point you do actually become delusional. Okay. Oh, man. I was also thinking about how things are more or less like the similarities between things. Like, it's funny to me how a fisherman, or like a Bass Pro fisherman, like a Rapala guy, can probably talk to a dominatrix. What do you call them when they're a dude? Are they still called a dominatrix, whether they're male or female? Is that like a unisex term? I wonder. But anyway, back to the point. They can talk all day about like different kinds of. Might as well buy everything. Just different kinds of knots, and like what knot is the strongest, and what knot is something that you need to. If you had to, you can either pull quick or whatever the case may be. Let's go with the long extension. I like the 15. Because I mean, you don't really think about it. There's a lot to fishing that I really didn't realize, but it's always the little nuances, and it's the nuances. I guess I don't really know what nuance means. I mean, it's like detail, right? But there's these little details that go into it that everybody. That's what is different between like a good fisherman and a bad one. Like, also, the fact that fish are biting. That's pretty good indicator, to be quite honest. But you can tell which one knows their stuff over which one that doesn't, depending on like the type of knots and stuff, that like knots that pull, like when you pull them they get tighter, and there's some knots that all you have to do is just push back a little bit on it and then it immediately becomes undone. It's little things like that. Okay, cool. I think we're done with all that. Yep, cool. It's the little details that fascinate me, and the fact that little details like that could have a, I mean, they could be from two very different worlds. Because I don't know about you, but I don't think that fishermen, in my experience, are very sexually liberated. So, they could be, they never have any reason to talk to each other ever. But now they're like, oh man, you like knots? I like knots. What's your favorite? And I think it's kind of weird that the fisherman has a knot, but not the dominatrix, despite the dominatrix using knots and, you know, certain ties just as much as maybe the next person, or as the other, or as the, you know, for as much as the fisherman does. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe fishermen are definitely freaks. I mean, fishnets, they're sexy for a reason. Like, I'm sure one of them got caught in it one day, and they're like looking at each other, like Bob, Tim, and Dale, and like Dale gets caught up in the fishing net, and Bob and Tim are looking at each other like, whoa, 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 hold on, before you help him. Like, Dale looking kind of good right now. So I mean, you know, who am I to judge whether or not the fishermen of the world are ready to party with what they do? On the flip side, it'd be hilarious to me if, for whatever reason, they are like they start doing knots and then they try to go to figure out how to do better knots for like their fishing poles, and they somehow like get caught up in like the BDSM scene because they're like, well, you know, I just came to this convention because I was really interested in this person because they do like these knots that can hang on to a 180-pound man, uh, or a 180-pound person, and I like to go deep sea tuna fishing, and those guys can get up to about 160 pounds. So I was very interested to see exactly how they put it and how they would do this hook. And I was like, it's just it's crazy to think, but I'm very excited to see the intricacies and the similarities between our worlds. And who knows, maybe they end up like becoming lovers or something, or friends. Wouldn't that be great? Be like, he was a fisherman, I was a dominatrix, and you know, it just happened. I'm surprised it's not a Lifetime movie. I would actually watch that one instead of the usual uh like this girl goes back to town for, I don't know, some bullshit, and of course it's Christmas time, but you know, boyfriend has to work. So he's like, you know what? I'll be there on Christmas. Just give me like a day or two, and I'll follow right behind you. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, in those 2 days, she ends up like falling for her like guy who never left, never did anything. Well, he did stuff with his life, but he just stayed in town, type shit. And she's like, well, you were the one that got away. And she was like, that was like in third grade. But somehow, someway, they're like, yeah, we'll make it work. And the guy's just sitting there like, are you for real right now? Like, we've known the married guy, the one she's actually married to, like, we've been married for 10 years. Like, you've never mentioned this guy once. And on top of that, all I had to do was wait 2 days. Like, I love your family loves me, I love you, you love me. But you're willing to throw it all away for this guy because he owns like the only Christmas shop that's open 24/7, 365 in America? And it's like, you don't get it. It's the spirit of Christmas or some bullshit. And he's just like, you know what? Okay, I get it. You love him, and walks away. I would have been like, bitch, you are fucking crazy. There's no way you're willing to throw away this cushy job, this nice house, this app. And like, it's not even like they were having problems. I sound like it's happening to me, right? Like, how mad I am. But you're willing to throw this all away just because, like, oh, Christmas and third, we'll always have, you know, Miss Kensington's third grade picture or some shit. Like, no, bitch, you crazy. You crazy. And like, but it was love. I'm like, no, it's just her getting bored, moving on to the next fucking dude. And you know what, man? Keep her. She's all yours. You get to deal with that. And again, I sound like it's happening to me right now, but no, I promise you, Shelby and I are in a good place. As far as I know. Who knows? Everybody can get blindsided. Which is what happened to that fucking guy. So, you know, watch out. Don't let your girl go to Christmas Town land in somewhere in the Midwest where it snows really hard in one day, but for some reason it only snows to like 2 feet, and then the snow is perfect and white on the ground the next day. I'm guessing some type of weird place, Wisconsin. Hey, what's good? Welcome, welcome.
I love you.
There we go. And Scatwig's yelled out, I love you. Hey, it's going pretty good. Lauren Zach, welcome to the stream. Talking all kinds of crazy. Talking about Lifetime movies currently and how whack those are. But, I mean, it's like trash TV. You gotta watch it. Thanks. I honestly don't remember where it's from. All I know is that I have watched the skit it's from a number of times. Rebecca. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Do you have a Lifetime movie that you're like, man, that one was the bee's knees? My day, it's been pretty good. My dishwasher went out, which sucks, but luckily I'm just technologically advanced enough to be like, I think it's maybe this part, and I'll spend 20 bucks to figure it out, or I'll just, that's about it as far as I got. It's a $20 part, and I'm just praying. Haven't come this far. Yeah, very true. So, but yeah, how's your day, man? Hopefully, pretty good. It does, and we've had it for so long, we've grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle. So I'm willing to sue the dishwasher for alimony. So this just my day be good. Oh man, that sucks. Well, hopefully you can hang out, have some good times here. Like I said, we talk about all kinds of things. I was talking about how a fisherman and a dominatrix have a lot to say, or like a lot in common with knots. That was pretty neat. And I mean, they really do. They gotta both hold 160-pound live things, so you gotta make sure you have a good knot. Or knots, I don't know. All I know is my cousin is super into fishing, and the more he talks about him, the more I just want to ask him, like, yo, how far does this go? But he doesn't seem like the type. But again, it's always the closets that you're like, oh, it's the quiet dudes and the quiet chicks that are like the freaks. All right, just have the vertical from Jordan on here. Let's see. There we go. Still got a lot to go on. Let's see. Okay, not even close. There was still, I'm assuming bird vomit. I don't know if they still can, but yeah. What's your take on I don't know, comedy? Like who's your favorite comedian if you have one? Sorry. Hey, no worries at all, man. It's all good to me. Trust me, I've got a buddy of mine. His internet's so bad. Well, he also doubles as my editor, and it's so bad that we actually ship USBs back and forth because it's faster than him trying to download like a 15 gig video. So trust me, I completely get it. Okay, we're cool. Hopefully it dries off before Timmy sits in it. It doesn't matter. He's gonna pee in it anyway. God, I can't wait to be a parent. I guess more specifically a father. Shelby and I, my wife, have come to the conclusion that I get to be the dad. She allowed it, really. Oh, thanks. It took it really wasn't that much. Those two shelves in the back, just a bunch of crap that I got. I love them, all sentimental stuff. And then the sound panels, I just really like purple. I'm a purple person, so it's just been a problem. I'm that kind of person. And this is what's called PowerWash Simulator, and that's all you do. You pretend to power wash, pretend to have a real job. I do have tattoos. I highly do not recommend them, but well, I don't recommend them in places that are pretty obvious. So like, I have one right here on my forearm, so I always have to wear tattoos, or I have to wear tattoos. I do, right? Uh, but I always gotta wear sleeves, and then I have one on my finger, which oh wow, that's bright. Here I can, yeah, I can show them, no problem. Let's see. I got this one on my finger. You can barely see it. It's in the crack. It looks like ass. And then I have this one here for one of my friends. And then I have one on the back. I guess I can do. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. But I want a lot more. Don't have a lot of money. So that's what's stopping me. And as you can see, I didn't have a lot of money when I got them because they look like garbage. Well, yeah. I was a really big Superman fan, but I mean, I've kind of gotten older and I enjoy it. I like DC more than I like Marvel. I feel like they just have grittier, more realistic, uh, like they tackle. I don't know. They just have a darker, grittier feel to them. But I see the appeal on both sides. Like I really enjoy like the character arcs that each one goes through, and like you can argue that Iron Man went through the same, but I don't know, just doesn't feel the same. Like my favorite storyline is I don't really know it because I'm not super into this stuff, but the Injustice one where Superman is like I think Joker kills Lois Lane, so he's like he goes crazy and he's like you should have killed Joker a long time ago, and Batman's like I don't kill people except I should have killed him. Yeah, I saw that. Is it still what's that guy's name? Is that Flash guy the one that's like racking up felonies at the speed of sound as well? Is it still that guy? And man, my uncle was super into Flash despite not being a very fast guy. Ezra Miller, yeah, that guy. How's he doing? Last I heard, he was like rolling around with a gun and like body armor because he was that paranoid. Which who knows, man? That level of fame, that'll get to a person. I really enjoy. It's not Matt Damon. Who is it? Ben. Whoever plays the Batman. God, what is it? What is his name? Big fan of Flash too. Hey, he's a good dude. I like that he's not just the fast guy. He's actually smart, and he can actually use his powers beyond that, like the phasing through the wall stuff, like knowing actual like vibrational frequencies. Like that's actually pretty cool. Ben Affleck, yeah, I love him as the Batman. I mean, I don't really have much of anything to go off of, but I mean, sure. I also don't have any money. Oh, the Christian Bale Batman was great. Yeah, this is literally small time, just hanging out. Oh, that's cool. That's major dope. You know what? Perfect place to try and find some people like that. Twitch. So it all works out. Yeah. Small features. Hey, that's dope, man. I enjoy that. That's cool. Like I said, I really can't pay you much. That's really my thing. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to look at your work, and I have no problem like helping out. Yeah. What else do you do? Or is that like your main focus? You're like, this is what I like to do on my sides. I remember having to do these rocks, and they suck. I don't know if there's anything worse than stepping on a slimy rock and like busting your ass in the river. Cause everybody laughs at you, even though it was like wasn't your fault at all. You just hurt for the rest of the day. Yeah, that'd be cool. Here I can show you my. I can send you the Discord, or you can whisper it to me. It's completely up to you. Professional web developer. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so you do like, I don't know. I don't know anything about coding to be honest. HTML. Does that make any sense to you? Does that mean anything to you? I feel like I've heard that before. I know you can press like a certain button when you're on a web page, and you can change like the colors of their little bullshit. Not like legitimately, but you could just, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. Probably whispering here. I don't know if you want to go through and like join the Discord and all that kind of web stuff. Dope. Anything that I know that you might have worked on. If you say Pornhub, I want a subscription. I don't know if they give you if you like get to have those, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. Trend server, cool. Not gonna lie, it's pretty low, or it's pretty quiet for the most part. I really suck about getting in there, but I'm trying to do a little better. We'll see though. This is literally my first time in probably like the last 2 or 3 months, probably longer than that to be honest. Actually having a stream that's consecutive, like one day streaming and then another one. I think in the storyline of this game, like he just bought this as horrific as it was. Which I don't know, man. If you had me trying to buy a house like this, and I did buy a house kind of like this, you would absolutely have to clean this shit up before I moved in. I guess that's what I'm here for. Or at least put it in the closing costs or something. Like, come on, man. Be cool. Problem with the house we got is it was a crack den, right? So for a number of years. And it did not, somebody bought it at like a tax sale, and I guess they were gonna try and start making it work because we did see like somewhat new waves and Twitter and Insta too. Nice. If you want, you can I'm more or less active, but I'm active on other discords, mainly like the there's a speedrun discord and a Pokemon Puzzle League speedrun discord that I like checking out. But yeah, my actual Discord, the one I'm supposed to be active in, not very. But like I said, I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to get better about it. Now that I feel better and I'm done with school for the semester, I got much more time. But yeah. If you want to send me those on Discord, I could definitely check you out. Is that where you have all the portfolio and stuff? Yeah, but yeah. So this guy apparently was based in Chicago, and he bought it at a tax sale, and it's a good chunk of land and everything. But it just needed so much work. Like these crackheads legitimately like tore everything up, took all the copper, anything of value that wasn't nailed down, they basically just ran with. Like it was a bad time once we got in here. And the guy was like, "Yeah, just take it off my hands." I think he bought it. He said for like 25, and he ended up selling it to us for 18 because he's like, "I'm just paying taxes on it for the last 4 years. Just take it. Just I want to make some of my money back." Really, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty sketchy for most of the way. Well, it ended up working out, and we've been in the house for a year now. But man, it has been work. We have a couple of videos on YouTube, and whew, yeah, that'd be awesome. Servers, thank you. I actually had one of my friends make it for me. Uh, I don't know if he still streams anymore, really, but Flash of Darkness. If you ever heard of him, real good dude. I think it's been a while since he streamed, but yeah, he set up the whole thing for me, and the general maintenance. I have to give a big shout out to my mod Yi for that. He takes care of most of it. I wish I could tell you, but thank you. I do appreciate it. I'll let them know. Yeah, and I can probably hit you up sometime later today if that works for you. Your mod also messaged you? Probably. I mean, does he stream too? Well, he used to. I don't know if he does. And my mod, he streams every now and then. I think the last time he did was probably a few months back. I think it was for Pokemon Scarlet. He was super excited about it. But yeah, Ye699. He doesn't stream very often, but he's a good dude. Really nice. Well, I say that, but he's not very friendly to new people. He'll be civil, but if he doesn't know you, he's definitely like, I don't know you. Like, I'm here, and someone comes up. Hey, cool. But yeah, sorry your day ain't going too hot, but at least you can listen to the sweet white noise that is just washing things. I appreciate that. I do my best to be as entertaining as possible and just be knowledgeable on certain things. You let me know how that goes for you. Like I said, he is not one for new friends. I'm sure he'll be fine. He probably just won't respond. I really like what they did here with the fence. Like I'm on a homeowner perspective, you know. Like I like the posts being on the side as opposed to just like the traditional fence. Just feel it looks a little nicer. Tell him about me? Yeah. He's also a buddy of mine. Loves Dead by Daylight, and he's super into computers. He's actually helping me get a. Well, he's not like helping me financially, right? But he's like, yo, dude, this is what you need. This is what you're gonna want. Like, he's a good dude. I'm not a fan of this trellis thing here, though. Like, what's the point? Trying to get wind out or. Yeah. What did he do? Did he message out like, hey, what's this person? Yeah. There you go. He said, who are you? Yeah, he's probably curious, like, where did you come from? That's fair. Yeah, I've known this guy probably probably a few years at this point. Again, yeah, everybody we're not, I guess cagey isn't the right word, but we're definitely like, fresh, like fresh people. What's going on here? This man only streams like once a month. Yeah. Hey, what's good, Dex? How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. How you doing? How you feeling? Yo, did they get a new killer in Dead by Daylight, or is that just something I just saw for like clickbait? Oh, enjoyed that emote. And how you doing, man? It's been a while. UTB is, I don't know, 3 weeks anniversary will be there too. Okay. Yo, did you see they have Nicolas Cage on there now? I mean, I don't think I've really seen a lot of Nicolas Cage movies, but I'm very excited. I've been meaning to see the enormous weight of immense talent or some shit like that. I think it's like him and the Pedro Pascal who's been in like everything. July 5th. Okay, I might do a stream that day just to play as him. I might spend the probably what is it? $9.99, $14.99. I think that'd be exciting. Meet up buying him. See him. Oh, it's sweet. Yeah, that works then. Shit, I'm about it. Well, hell, I might send you like $5-6 in, just a couple bucks to help out. Because I mean, I really doubt that I'll be playing as much, but I'll be playing Dead by Daylight. But I'm excited to get back into it. It's been so long and they've done so much to the game. It feels like just different enough to be fresh to me. So I'm actually excited to come back. I'm gonna feel like such a fucking noob again. Yeah, but let me know when you're playing against like when you just start your well, it resets on the 13th, right? So yeah, we'll play on the 13th when or 14th when it resets. That way we don't get the sweaty killers like right off the bat. Shelby's text me. Barely playing. Yeah, well, you've been playing it well for years, right? I mean, since it came out in like however long that was. Well, and I don't know. Did you ever? I know you said you were trying to give it a break and then like try and come back to it. Did that work out at all, or 5 years ago? Oh, okay. For some reason, I have you like not day one, but definitely like year one. Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. Like I said, I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer. I've just seen like his face in it. And God, if I don't love me some Nick Cage. More on the meme side. Like I don't really think I've seen any of his movies other than like National Treasure, which I think was a Disney movie somehow. But yeah, way less. They played off for 2 weeks. Okay. In your opinion, has it gotten better since like the last big update? I don't know if they've had an update since the last one though. Trying to think the last Nicolas Cage movie. I saw that he had a what's his new movie coming out? Renfield. It does not look good. But damned it if I'm not gonna watch it once it hits a streaming service. Shelby's having a good day at work, so that's nice. Doing that. Jesus, man, you only have 5 left. Been busy. Well, it must suck too, cause like there are legitimately low tier killers. So, like, I don't blame you. Are those 5 of the low tier killers? Nice. Oh, the dings, man. That's what I live for. You know, I think somebody was saying in the game, like, why there's a bunch of this red stuff is because like they actually killed somebody back here, or they have me come back, I think, and it's all jacked up again. They're like, well, look at all the red in there. Like that's absolutely blood, and it makes sense back to the slippery rock thing, and somebody like busting their ass. Like it's the perfect cover up for a murder. Just have someone get a little drunk and then just like walk them over here. It's planned. It was all premeditated. trying to think. Maybe it was Tyr that was like bringing it to light. This pond wall's got so much. Oh, wow, I didn't even do any of this side. Huh? Speaking of rocks and like this thing, how do people really get rocks to stay where they want? Like especially like people who have like rock driveways. Like I got one right now just because cement's just a little too expensive. Eventually I'll get cement, right? But I feel like you just have to constantly be kind of like maintaining it, and you have to be like, I wonder what I could have done to keep all the weeds from coming out. And that's coming from, you know, me, the resident landscaper in the house. Specifically because Shelby doesn't do that, and I mean I'm Mexican. It kind of just falls to me, you know, ethnically wise. Like by default, I should be like about this, but I don't know. Crazy thing about me, I absolutely hate soccer. I hate gardening. Well, I guess that's not super true. I do love flowers. But again, I'm a purple person, so it's just gross purple flowers the entire time. And they're super tacky, and I absolutely know that. Which is a big thing. I guess the most power you could have over yourself is knowing, like, self-awareness, I think. Like, self-awareness to know, like, oh, I think I'm absolutely, like, uh, uh, like, am I doing the right thing here? Like, do they think I know that they know type things, or just little weird nuance, like little nuances like that. But just enough to be like, you know what, I'm doing something, and this is what I'm doing, and this is who I am as a person. Like that's how I feel like. That's what it feels like the most important quality in a person. Like knowing you suck, I guess, is probably like the best way I can put that. Not you specifically, but like knowing that you as a person yourself sucks. Does that make sense? And also not like in a self-deprecating way. Like I know, like I'm not the worst person in the world. I know that for a fact. So I can leave work going like with my head held high, like yeah, I feel good about all this. But I also know like if they ask me to stay over and they're like, please, we need you, like your coworkers need you, I'll be like, you paying overtime? No, then go fuck yourselves. My loyalty is all about the Benjis. With that being said, I can't start my new job for at least another couple weeks because I had gallbladder surgery and it wasn't that bad. In and out, really no issue, right? But I can't lift more than 10 pounds, and the hospital that I'm going to be working at is like, yeah, you're going to need to lift more than 10 pounds. 90% of our patients are what we would consider obese. And I'm like, oh no, trust me, I'm well aware. I did my clinicals here for school. Trust me, I'm well aware. What else is there? Oh, yeah, sorry. Shelby and I are talking about the washer, or the dishwasher, and how, like I said, that part might work, it might not, but she's like, do you really think the part works? And I'm like, I have no idea. Not a GE repairman guy. But I did call them, and the reason why we're even attempting to do the washer, or the washing machine part, is because it's gonna uh uh it's gonna be a whole thing. Like it's gonna be $110 to 150 bucks for someone just to come out and look at it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just try with the $20 part, and let's figure out where it goes from there. That's good. This needs a little love. This one, I think if I do this stepping stone last. Then I should be alright. There we go. Come on, be cool. There we are. There we go. Okay, so I have a number of small things, I guess, that need to be 99 because it would give you like the top 3 things if there was something there. Oh. There we go. Food shelf, gas supply, water bowl. Okay, well. Oh, it's got to be you then. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay. Damn it, let me get in there. No, I think the trolley got me thinking about it. I don't know if any of you guys watched Ted Lasso, but man, this new season, I haven't seen the last like 2 or 3 episodes, but I've heard they're really good. Super excited about it. Shelby and I just need to sit down and watch it. But we have our Amazon, we have it on the Amazon Fire Sticks. We have it quote unquote jailbroken, but nowadays jailbreaking is just, you know, downloading an app. Let's clean. I guess we'll clean the dirt bike. Let's see what we got in the shop. 511 bucks, 15 stars. How many stars do you, I think you get 5 stars per thing. Let's sit on it. It's only 75 bucks. Yeah, we'll do that. Man, this one's perfect for like pings. Really looking for that just sweet ding 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 ding. Especially when you got 2 people. I saw a speed run of this. Absolutely mental. There's 4 people, but the game is, they do it so fast, and the game is so unsynced. Desynced, I think is the correct term. That they just rely on one guy, and he's like, okay, this is what it says because I'm the host. He literally has Host Pro, which I don't know if anybody remembers that from the Call of Duty days. God, those are the days. Never had a mic, so, you know, made sure to keep to myself. Right, come on, Tire. Be cool. One thing that I think they brought back in the newest COD, I think it's Martyrdom. They did something about it, or like, oh no, Last Stand. Oh god, Last Stand is the worst. All right, the engine, okay. Because I mean, you really don't think about it, and then all of a sudden you now have some literal, some guy who fell. You're like, okay, cool, he's dead. You immediately move on, and then you get shot in the back. And if you're playing hardcore or something, oh my god, they only need 1 pistol bullet pretty much anywhere. Like a pistol is a death shot, a kill shot. And man, it just ruins your day. Especially if you just had like 2, like you just had 2 kills, you just get the 3rd, you think, and then you turn around and it just shoots you right in the back of the head. And there went your kill streak. Because, you know, why would you play with hardline? Because it really doesn't help as much as it used to. I guess you're dirty on the side too. Yep. One thing that I miss about playing on computer, or not computer, but the with the controller, is the rigidity of it. Like mouse and keyboard has its own things, but the remote could allow you to move in a straight line and not worry about it. Like you could move diagonally in like a perfect way. I'm sure there's got to be like a mod or something to help you out with that, right? Where you can you're actually able to move diagonally with like a mouse and keyboard. Because it would be great if you could have just like, especially for like WASD, you could just have like your finger, your thumb on it, and then have like the keys off to the side. Like have the aiming of a mouse, but then have the buttons of a keyboard or of a controller. I think that would be absolutely dope. And I don't know if people can play like that. I don't know if you can. Like you can play like simultaneously. But I think that would be amazing. That would change the game. Or not the aiming of it, and then the movement of it, I guess. I don't know. I guess you can be really precise with the mouse and keyboard on movement as well. Well, I guess the strafing is the issue. So there's that. Well, maybe. Let's see. Well, yeah, yeah. You know what? Never mind. I'm kind of wrong. Like you have to like you can do perfect strafing like up, down, left, right, kind of diagonally, but like you can't do like slightly diagonal and slightly back without having to like be feathering the keyboard. But who knows? Anybody who's like a pro PC player, like PC Master Race, let me know. How do you get around it? I swear to God, I'm just gonna all I'm ever gonna get is get good scrub. And I'll be like, you know what? Fair, you got me. Which I mean, honestly, is a valid thing to say. Except in Dark Souls, like, come on, give me something, man. Like, he's got 5 attacks. You want to roll this way for that one, do this for that one, do this for that one. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm looking for. But again, there's only 5 attacks. Like, get good, try some stuff. I was listening to a comedian today, and don't put politics into it. It's nothing to do with politics. Whether you go for one side or the other, I don't care. I just thought that he had a really good take on what he was saying, and basically that watching Donald Trump debate was the best thing to watch. And his argument was that it was like arguing with a 5th grader almost. And that's not a dig on Donald Trump or whatever, whatever, however you want to take it, I really don't care. But his whole point was like, it was great. He would just be in the middle of he'd be talking, and then in the middle of it, he'd just be like, no, you're wrong, and you're ugly. His example was when he called Ted Cruz's wife like a dog-faced, ugly woman or something like that. He's like, your wife looks like a dog, in like the middle of talking about the economy or some shit. And then so Ted Cruz is like, you don't talk that way about someone's wife from Texas or something. And fuck, what'd he say? He's just like, Ted Cruz has a dog wife, or like such a little kid. Like, in fact, very bold strategy. Speaking of bold strategies, I have to go and fix my sound alerts because they're not coming out the way they're supposed to, and I don't know why. I've been so long. I think I might need to hook it back up because I had to change my password because I had been gone for so long. But it was stuff like that, and then like there was then he used another time where he was talking about how somebody was talking about something, and then Donald Trump just like leaned in on the microphone and was just like, wrong. That's it. Didn't add anything, just wrong, and would just say that over and over. I'm like, fuck, man, maybe I should have watched these debates. Like, and it was funny because he was right. He's like, you have these guys 40 years in politics. They've got backdoor dealings with all kinds of countries and people, and whatever side you're on. Like, nobody wins in a war type thing, or there's no good people in a war type thing. And he's like, yeah, you just got them out there debating a maniac. Like, he's just saying whatever the fuck he wants, doing whatever he wants, and like, there's no defense for it. You can't be like, oh, rebuttal, my wife is not a dog. Like, you can't you can't say that. And then like, I don't, like, as the moderator, you're like, please keep this to a certain level of decency or whatever. It's like, no, fuck you, the crowd's going wild. These are the highest ratings since the Super Bowl, just keep them on. Like, get out of here. Let him have as much time as he wants. I just want to hear some crazy shit. But again, it's not about politics. I don't care if you think he was a good or bad president. I don't really care. that you care. I should say. But I just think it made for great television. The man knew what's up. He knew how to make great television. And I think I'm legitimately gonna go back and probably after this watch his debates and just see like what the fuck, because I'm sure they're up there. They've got to be YouTube or something, or just like a compilation video. Oh, that'd be great. Ban, yeah, yeah. If we're talking about politics, I should ban myself. Not in this channel. Not on this good God fearing channel. Please don't cancel me for telling a joke. Oh man. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I have like a really like democratic friend, and they're like they don't care what's going on. They just like they're Democrats to the point where it's like they don't care what it is. It's just like, oh, you say you're a Republican, I just think you're a bad person, like type of thing. And I'm like, that's not a way to live life. For one, that's like, I don't know, stereotyping. It's like a anyway. But I want to do that. Like, just invite them over for some drinks and like a thing, and be like, yo, you got to check out this video, and then just have like a compilation of Trump just saying the crazy shit he said, and just watch him freak out. It sounds terrible, but oh, absolutely right. Yep. So, I mean, all you can do is just have fun along the way, like I said. And then, like a week later, after he calls his wife a dog, isn't I think Ted Cruz is on. It was probably like a week later, probably to the day or maybe a couple days, where he was like, "I support Donald J. Trump as my Republican presidential candidate." I'm like, "Oh my god, dude! If that was my wife, she would have never let me fuck her ever again. She would look at me like, you are never, like, no." Oh man, good times. But highly recommend checking that out. See where that goes for you. So this window's still gross. Ah, here we go. There you go. Yep. Oh man. You know what though? This game is so much better with a mouse and keyboard. Like I feel like I'm zooming through all this stuff. Except for the glass. What happened here? You know what? Crackheads. You know what? Say less. I get it. Anytime anything ever happens, just say crackheads, and so like I guarantee you, the person that you're talking to will be like, you know what? Fuck, man, you're right. This neighborhood's gone downhill, and they'll just walk away. Oh, I don't know. Have you guys been getting robocallers recently? I guess everybody has, right? How do you guys deal with them? Because I have a fantastic way. For me, I like to stay on the line until the robocall stops and somebody pops up. Especially when I'm driving, especially when I'm by myself, because I'm not listening to anything special. It's a podcast about food. Yeah, cars extended warranty, but I love it when it's a human person because I got nothing to do. So I'm just like, let's just fuck with them. Right now, I'm getting a lot of calls about solar. Am I on something right now? Okay, kind of. Jesus, that's not F. I'm not good at keyboards. There we go. Get out of here. Uh, but I'm getting a lot of stuff for solar, and my favorite thing right now is to say how much I love coal, and the fact that I'm part of like the Coal Miners Union 1816, which I don't even know is real. And I start talking about how hippy dippy bullshit is gonna ruin this country with their solar and wind power, and they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take you off our call list." And I say, and I put on an accent too. Shelby loves it. I'm like, God damn it, I ain't gonna listen to nothing the sun has to say to me. All it has to do is tell me when to get up for work. And even then, I'm beating it to the punch. And like, she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't wake up till like 9 every day, but she's just laughing on the side. It's a good time. Just picks up. Oh, nice. Yeah, you even go to learn the language. That's another level of like, fuck you. I like that. That's funny. Oh man, that's great. You know, and it's educated. It's not like you're just being like racist. You know what? I don't think that's racist at all. And if any, I don't care what anybody says. They're like, oh, you're appropriating. No, that is fair game. Oh, that's amazing. Hey, what's good, Beth? Welcome, welcome. We're talking about robocallers and how you deal with them. Dex is out here learning different languages to like yell at them, and I think that is the greatest thing I've heard today. The only thing better than that is probably the guy who like scams the scammers. I think he streams on Twitch most of the time, and he's got like a good following, and he's just there like fucking with them. I think he's like somehow like they give him access to the back door of their PC or whatever the fuck hacker term, and he just starts like fucking with all their settings and stuff. It's hilarious. I've seen little things on Facebook because I'm too old to have TikTok, so I just watch my 5-second videos on Facebook. You know, the real cesspool of the internet. Say no thanks. Who think I'm a scam caller? Oh, Beth, I'm sorry, but you're also like kind of you're real though. Like you don't say like I let them talk at first to be like what's this about? Because it might be real. Like their calls from like the area code makes sense. If they don't call from the area code that I grew up in, or like my area code from Texas, then I'm kind of an asshole. Oh, I guess you kind of deal with that because you work for a whole thing. I'm sorry, Beth. But I wait for them to at least say like, oh, I'm with so and so energy or like blah blah blah, and I think that you'd be great to be a part of our program, and I'm like, absolutely not. I'll at least wait because sometimes it is important. It hasn't been thus far, but I at least give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Also, that's true. Be nice to the scam caller. Don't like. I don't know. Just. It depends on what it is. You know what? Don't be nice, especially if it's a scam. Let's be honest. 90% of them are. 99. Oh, you know what? That's true because you're dealing with like sensitive information. Yeah, that's pretty. You have to be sus. Oh no. Oh, Beth, I feel so much worse now. Oh, yeah. Oh, Beth, I am so sorry. Oh, was she? Did she at least answer first? I bet 90% of your job would work or would be like way nicer if you could just have them call you as opposed to you calling them. Like I feel like that would make your job so much better because at least everybody knows like you're in. There's a reason for the call already. It's not just you being like, hey, we got to talk to you. I know you don't want to talk, but also, when's your birthday? I'm trying to get you a gift. If only she hadn't. Oh, that sucks. Does it really? Oh, if they say like certain things or however they do it. Oh, that sucks, dude. Beth, I don't know if you drink wine, but I'm gonna have a bottle sent to your house tomorrow. You're obviously gonna need it because this isn't just like this doesn't sound like she's like, oh, I'm gonna have a beer after work, lady. This is like a crack a bottle of wine open after the day type of lady. For a 2 outreach calls, blah. I'm worried about it all day. Oh, again. Oh, that sucks. Who knows? Maybe she's gonna be like, you know what? I was wrong. Here's my birthday. And maybe it's her birthday tomorrow and she's in like a way better mood. Oh, that'd be great too if everybody just hit the fuck you button. Like if you could just leave messages all the time and never have to call anybody, or at least call anybody, like cold calling, I guess. God, what are those companies that get people to do that all the time? It's like a company that sells knives, where you just cold call people all the time, and you're like, listen, this is nothing short of Wagyu steel or some bullshit, like some buzzwords that they've heard. This is Damascus, alright? It's better than Damascus. It has 7 extra letters. Trust me, you can't live without this knife. I think I've actually seen. I saw a video. Somebody was like showing. They had never seen it. It's whatever company it is. Their main color is like maroon and it starts with an M. But they sell knives and they actually had like a brick and mortar store. But the only thing I can think of is somebody dumped their life savings into this brick and mortar store to sell the knives that he could be selling over the phone. Pyramid schemes, yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. Well, that's the thing. Everybody's like, "Ooh, quick money, let me in, let me in before I blow this house down." And it's so easy. And you can't even be like, "Oh, they're preying on the desperate." It's like, no, trust me, 90% of the people in these MLMs, they're not that desperate. They're dumb, and they really didn't see it. Like one of the ones that is a big one, like a legal big one, or I guess somewhat legal, are the insurance company ones, where they're like, or like the reinvestment ones. They're like, yeah, buy insurance through us, and then we can actually invest the policy for you, and you know all this blah blah blah, you know buzzwords, dividends, returns, all that crap. I mean, that's just another bad one. But what they do is, I know a couple people that are actually in one, and they're high up in it, so they're not hurting. But they are like, they're that rise and grind culture. Like, yeah, we wake up every day at like 5 a.m. and we're out here, you know, making calls and making business deals and like all this shit. And yeah, we wake up and while we're at the business deal, we're working out to stay in shape because our insurance is gonna pay for all of these and like, oh, utility supplier. It's her business and printed business cards. Oh, yeah, yeah, and like yeah, they'll have like conferences and shit like that, and they're like, yeah, you know, I did this many sales this quarter or whatever the fuck, and all they're doing is just lying to each other and like, yeah, you know, you have to get the nice suit and this to, so that way people will take you serious. If you want, you can buy our super suit saver package, which is $1,000 for a $250 suit at J.C. Penney. Let's switch to utility. Oh my god. Jesus. And you just gotta look at him like, man, what do you? Oh no, baby, what is you doing? Like that's all you can do. I mean, the biggest thing is you just gotta have someone who's super charismatic and knows a bunch of other dumb people, and just to get them in. That's the only way to make money. And again, you put on this like cool face, you do this rise and grind thing, like, you know, and they might ask you like, you know what, I'm kind of struggling to pay bills with this, and they're like, oh, well, are you trying hard? Are you actually trying? And it's like, it's a shitty product. What do you want? But again, I have some sympathy for him. Not very much. But I'm telling you, when I put on my like southern accent, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I really shouldn't be, but I think it's a very funny accent, and I also find it very cute in like when people have it, and I start laying into them about coal power and shit. Oh, and again, I'm not mean to them. I'm just like, hippy dippy bullshit is probably as vulgar as I get. Oh, I've been power washing for a while now. Well, it's only been an hour. Jesus Christ. And you know, Beth, it's funny that you mention a dumb as fuck nurse because uh, I just found out that a bunch of people in my class that really shouldn't have passed. So they're going on to the next semester. And oh boy, when I tell you, like, I'm not the greatest student, don't get me wrong, but I walked away with B's. You know, I won't kill you, but I may not know everything. Fair. These people don't know, like, the basics. So, yeah, well, and trust me, I'm going for my associates. So to me, like, this is, I shouldn't be saying this, but I think nurses should be, that should be a bachelor degree, and they should get paid a little more. Well, it depends. I know some places like they start out at like 70 grand, and then I know some places where they start out almost three figures. But I think it should be like a bachelor's degree because there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that, like, theory wise and how to use it in, like, and again, that's me saying that while I'm working on my ASN, on my associates for it. Like, yeah, it would burn me, but I completely understand with all the fucking shit going on next to me exactly why it needs to be. It's one of those things of like, you don't know there's a problem till you get into an industry, and then once you're in it, you're like, fuck, this is way worse than I thought. Like, you just thought, oh, it's a couple of them. No. There's like 6 or 7 people that I'm like, I would never let you touch me. They have really good like bedside manner, so you know that's great. But ooh, like, if you come at me with a needle, I will legitimately like beat you. And I was listening to a comedian. He was talking about how he was getting a shot for a vaccination for something, and he was like, I'm just not. He was telling the nurse, he's like, oh, I'm not very good with needles, and she's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, and she's like, well, are you gonna hit me? And he's like, no. Are people hitting you? Like, you should tell an adult. I don't know who your boss is. The doctor, I guess? Like, tell somebody. And she's like, okay. Like, he's like, people shouldn't be hitting you. Like, it's fair, but. And she's like, well, what's your problem? Like, well, how bad are you? And he's like, oh, no, I like, ow, it hurts. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm not gonna. Somewhere between vicious mauling and like passed out, somewhere between like being an absolute punk bitch and cage fighter, you know, like he was like, I don't know, somewhere in that range, in the middle of those. It's like, God. And you know, she had to have gotten hit a couple times to be like, that's where her brain first goes to. There's absolutely no way. Oh, I can absolutely believe it. I mean, verbally, physically, I can believe both. People are fucking psychos, and all we're trying to do is help them. With that being said, again, some nurses, oh my god, do they suck. Like, all they do is just hang out in the nurses thing, and they're like, yeah, call me when their vitals drop. And I'm like, okay, cool. Glad that you're taking care of someone's grandmother. Like, you didn't hear this from me, but there's been a number of times where I've had to be like, hey, I got these really pressing lab results that I need you to come pick up, like, right away. And they're like, okay, I'll be there in a minute. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it like a minute or two. I'll give it probably a little longer, like 2 minutes, because I'm like, you know what, these are important. And I'm like, hey, you're gonna come pick these up? And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about those. Yeah, I'm at the office right now. Can you come bring them by? And I'm like, I can't. I gotta look at these things, the monitors. And then they're like, fine, I'll be there in a minute. Like 5 minutes go by, and then they show up, and they're like, oh my god, why didn't you say something? I'm like, I told you these were important labs. I don't know what you want from me. I can't tell you what they are over the phone. Like, and they don't have phones, so I couldn't be like, oh, you know, kind of a private conversation. They just have like these loudspeakers that we can kind of like communicate back and forth. So I'm like, bro, like, what do you want from me? Be good at your job. I don't know. When someone says, hey, important lab results are in, you should probably be like, wow, that sounds like important lab results. I should go check that out. Not go diddle dicking around with your friends. But anyway, the patient didn't die. As far as I know, I left. My shift was over. I was out of there. And yeah, I never went back. I think that was like my last shift I ever worked there. And if I was to tell you like where I worked, everybody that's local would have been like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." It's that hospital. When I was doing my interview, I was talking to Shelby. I did it in the living room or my kitchen, so I had like a blank background. Tittle dicking. Like the phrase pussy dicking. I've never heard that. What is that's like? What? What? Is it? Oh my god, that's amazing. I gotta watch It's Always Sunny. God, that's funny. You know, I've got to put it into my vocabulary. I gotta somehow. I'm gonna be in a mirror and start saying it so it's locks in because that is way better than diddle dicking. Oh god. So yeah, I was doing the interview in the kitchen, right? Jesus. And I was talking, and I was like, "Well, what makes you want to work for blah 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 hospital, or blah 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 hospital, or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, I've heard really good things from the community, and you guys are like the pinnacle of light. You know, really giving like selling it to them. Like, yeah, this place is great. Everybody loves it there. You know, just the usual bullshit, right?" And Shelby come like I see Shelby laughing. I'm like, "Oh, she must love like this routine I'm putting on, right?" And she was like, "No, you saying those things was hilarious. I don't think anybody's ever had a good experience at blah 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 hospital." And I'm like, "No way." So I started asking around. They're like, "Yeah, they killed my grandma." And they're like, "Oh, cool." And they're like, "Yeah, I went in there for my appendix was about to burst, and oh, there's a cat. Oh, he's too far. I was gonna blast him. Yeah, my appendix is about to burst, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll do surgery in like a couple hours. So sit back." And then they didn't do it for until the next day, 12 hours later, and then it burst inside of me, and I had sepsis. And I'm like, "Oh." And then like normal shit, like, "Yeah, I was trying to go to the bathroom, and I was getting help, and they grabbed like the leg where I had the knee surgery, and that hurt like absolute shit." And like they moved my knee from surgery or whatever, like something that they fucked up where they just had surgery. I was like, oh my god, this place sucks. And she's, and then I found that when I finally heard about the knee one, I'm like, you know what? First is whatever, twice is a coincidence, but three times that's a pattern. And so I started talking to her, and she's like, oh yeah, they are fucking terrible. That's why I was laughing that day. And I'm like, you know what? I get it. I absolutely get it. So you know, Nito burrito. God, gotta love it. Got to love it. Anyways, I'm working at another hospital now. We'll see how this works out. Super sided, you know. Such a game. They absolutely are. I don't think I've ever had an interview where I haven't lied at least 4 or 5 times. Not even about the job, but they're like, "Oh, what's your most name a time that you overcame adversity?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Like, I guess my life's been pretty good. Like, I wouldn't call anything I've been through adversity, but I did have like a couple of bad coworkers, but they sucked. I mean, that's just life." like, yeah, those questions absolutely suck. So I'm like, oh, so I just keep telling this one story about, I mean, well, it's kind of true, but again, it's just like what managers dealt with on a daily, where it's like, oh, you know, I had these two guys, they weren't getting along, and then I had a manager I was training who was an absolute idiot, and but I didn't say it like that. I'm like, you know, he just kind of refused to, uh, kind of change his ways, you know, try to, you know, all those little buzzwords and shit. And he's like, yeah, and I always tell the story of like this old. It's essentially the story of a young guy and an old guy not, uh, not seeing eye to eye. So everybody's like, oh, yo, the age classic story. How did you deal with this classic story that's absolutely like made up? But everybody buys it every single time, and I think that's what gets me most of my jobs. Every now and then, like I'll add a little more, like a little more flair into it here and there. Like, oh yeah, you know, I had to write them up this time, or like one time I have to write them up, and then the other time I'm like, yeah, I ended up having like a barbecue at my house, and I invited these two guys along with a bunch of other people, like as a kind of peace thing. Like, yeah, that's true. And like I said, it was a real story, but I didn't do the barbecue. I didn't like. Well, I did have to write them up, right? Oh, one second, Shelby's calling. Yeah, that's the entire point of this game. That's it, Beth. Right there. That's literally it. Just cleaning. It's just power washing. Legitimately. Nothing to it. Oh, it's perfect. I feel great watching this, or I feel great playing this. That's why I'm able to just be able to talk, because I'm just doing something like something's keeping me, but I can think. But I mean, like, so yeah. So going back to the story, like it was true, but it wasn't true in the sense of like I did have to write them up, but I put it like embellished it a little bit, like, oh, you know, I'm trying to think of the part that's really not true. Well, just like the barbecue thing, and you know, just little bullshit like that. Oh, I can play with the better one. God, this looks like trash. I think this one might be better this time. There we go. Like no barbecue. I did have to write them up. I think one of them they like. I said that he threw like a box at the other guy and he missed, but you know, stuff like that. Like I just little things. But it's such a shitty question. And it's like, why would you? What you want me to just like just give you some bullshit? And then there's other times where I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't take company funds, but you know, when I was working at Walmart, I did, you know, I had to what we call claims out something for customer satisfaction, and it was like, and I always say like, oh, it was like $3.95, you know, or like some low amount, but and then I go, what? But their bill was $107, so the $3.95 in markup was absolutely no problem, and then I always say like, yeah, the markup for, you know, it's a 26-cent thing, but it's $4. So giving them that thing for free, I mean, all we did really lose 26 cents. Like, bullshit like that. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Why don't you ask me a real question? Yeah, that's a big one too. That's why the first thing I do whenever I'm doing an interview is like write down their mission, and I like, especially if they have like an acronym or something. I'm like, it's all about respect, or and then I try and go down those like the words to be like, yeah, I read it. You don't think I read it, but and I also used it in a sentence. I'm like the best dude at the spelling bee. And Shelby's on her way home, so when she gets here, yeah, exactly, like just some bullshit like that. Oh, and they eat it up. Yeah, buzzwords as fuck. Oh, and they eat it up, man. And then I end up quitting on them like 6 months later because I'm like, yeah, I found a better job. What do you want from me? Or like, yeah, I found a job that pays me, a little less, but I get all these differentials and stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. That's one thing about me. I have no loyalty to like my job site. I suck about that. Yeah, they really do. But at least I don't leave because I'm like, oh, that manager was mean to me. I'm like, yeah, managers suck. You're not gonna have a lot of good ones. Now, if they're being like actually mean, like sexually harassing somebody or something, well, then that's different, right? But it's like, oh, they're making me work hard. Like, yeah, they probably have a quota to fill or some bullshit, and they need to push us. Like, I understand why they're kind of being a dick. But for the most part, that shit like rolls right off. I know some people they can't handle it. Like, I got a buddy of mine that's like, yeah, man, he talked to me this way, and I really didn't like that. And I'm like, what'd he say? He's like, well, your performance isn't doing too well. I worked so hard. And I'm like, well, what's your performance at? He's like, well, I mean, it's not the greatest. I've been kind of slacking off lately because I've been dealing with stuff. And I'm like, okay, did you say any of that to him? He's like, no, but he shouldn't say that to me. He knows all this hard. I'm like, what do you want from me, man? What are we doing right now? Like, I don't understand this whole conversation. Gotta love it. Yeah, and again, like I said, I at least leave for, oh, I'm getting paid more here, or I'm getting paid more here, or this one has like legitimately better, solid. It's a bro moment. It's exactly a bro moment. Like, it's the things like that I'm like, okay, I'll leave. I'm almost 30, so I gotta start looking into like benefits and stuff, and like trying to see what hospital is gonna give me the best that I can get right now. So, Shelby and I are getting closer to having kids and finishing the house and like fun things like that. So I gotta be able to look at this stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I get being content. Trust me, I get it. I've known people that have been at Walmart for like 25 years. And they bitch about it constantly, but they're like, yeah, but I like the people. And I'm like, that's another thing I get it, but I don't. I'm like, nobody's gonna, like, unless I worked with my absolute best friend, and even if I did, I would be like, nah, man, I'm sorry, I'm getting paid way more over here. If anything, you should come work with me. We'll make a bunch of more money together, and we can go buy more stupid shit together. Yeah, that's another thing. I'm really excited about, like, those bonuses, the retention bonuses. Oh, man. Being a nurse right now, you can roll in the dough. I gotta figure out what it is to be like a traveling nurse. Because one thing I'd love to do is, since Shelby can kind of work from home, not really, is I know that the area I'm from needs a lot of nurses because they just have the population's huge, and Mexicans for whatever reason don't believe in doctors. They believe in the curandera rubbing fucking Vicks on your forehead and an egg. That's a real thing. Google it. The egg and the Vicks. But so they don't show up to the hospital until they're like at death's doorstep. So they're not ICU. They are legitimately like we would consider them hospice, but it's like we're gonna try. What about dick? No, not dick eggs. Vicks, the vapor rub. But yeah, so like, I would love to come 80 to 85 an hour. Fuck. See, shit like that. But I would love to go back to where I'm from, and for like 6 months or however long a traveling nurse's contract is, just go see my family and be like, yeah, I gotta work, but at least I can be down in the valley. I guess I can say valley without like doxing myself too much. It's a pretty big area. And I can see my family and, you know, pretty much have everything paid for, because I think they do give you money for like lodging and stuff, which I wouldn't need. I'd probably just live at like my parents' house, or if the hospital isn't like a far area from it, be like, okay, I'll get a hotel room or something. That is true, because they know that you can just, that they can kind of use and abuse you like that. And that's a big thing though. Like I understand going in. Yo, one thing, nurses are catty as fuck. Male nurses, female nurses, they're all the same. Yeah, for $80 an hour, I will absolutely hold somebody's hand while they die. After I do everything I can, right? But like, I'm about it. Well, and the guy that was hiring me for this new job, he's like, look, man, we might end up having you in the ICU some days, you know, following a nurse, and it gets pretty rowdy, it gets pretty nasty in there, you know. And I'm like, what do you mean nasty? Like, you got to do like, you know, certain tests or something? Like, you collecting a lot of samples, or what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, people die. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Like, I was worried more about having to handle shit. Like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's cool. And he's like, oh. I'm like, you know what? It's part of life, man. He's like, okay. Well, then, if it ever opens up in there, we'll, you can be in there, because a lot of the other ones don't want to be in there for that reason. I'm like, dude, sign me up. Well, I asked him first, I'm like, it comes with money? And he's like, yeah, it's like an extra $2 when you're working there that day. And I'm like, sign me up. Like a literal 10% pay increase to be in like a different area. I'm about it. Bird, girl, take your time. And I know it sounds heartless, but I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm scared of death. I'm scared of what I leave behind. You know, like the people that need me. But even then, like, I feel like they're strong enough. Like, there's nobody that I would say like would just stop. Like, Shelby probably would for a bit, but that makes sense. We're codependent, which is an issue all its own. But we like being codependent, so I already know if one of us dies, just know, I don't know if we'll be streaming, you know, fucking 65 in the retirement home, I'll be streaming. But 65, right? You know, like 85 or something. Just know that if I die, Shelby's right behind me, and if Shelby dies, I'm right behind her. And you might be thinking like, oh, that's so cute. No. Our attachment to each other is, we've talked about it before, it's kind of unhealthy. But, you know, luckily for us, it's the kind of attachment that both of us are cool with. Like, we don't see either one of us as really clingy. But in any other relationship or different relationships, I'm sure we would be. And people always say, like, oh my god, you guys are relationship goals. I'm like, you have no idea. Absolutely not. Like, I appreciate you saying that, but we have our share of fights. Sometimes they're warranted, sometimes they're just, you know, I said the wrong word when I meant, like, I said apples instead of oranges, and that's a bad example, right? But, you know, you just use the wrong word, or a word just carries such, like, a different meaning to somebody, that to you it's a normal word, but it's really not to them. But I guess that's the fun of a relationship, right? You get to learn, like, what makes the other person crazy, and then, like, you can slowly jab at them a little bit with it. Not in a bad way, but just be like, oh, I know she hates the word like moist. So when I'm talking about something, I'm like, oh, babe, your pancakes are really good. You know, they were a little doughy in the middle though, kind of moist. She'd be like, oh, I'm like, yeah, got her. You know, shit like that. What keeps the spark? But yeah, it's the fun, nobody gets hurt pranks. Speaking of fun, nobody gets hurt pranks. I saw a prank. It was obviously like it was a scripted movie or it was a comedy skit or some bullshit. But they were talking. It was these guys in like a World War One trench, and he puts a thumbtack on a seat, and he's like, ha ha ha, the guy's gonna sit on the thumbtack, ha ha ha. So like the general comes by, and it's two guys. One puts it, the other guy's looking at him like, you're such an idiot. You're gonna be court-martialed or some shit, right? And so he puts the tack down on the seat, and the general's like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, sit down. There could be snipers or shit. So already you already know what's gonna happen. But please bear with me along with the story. General goes, sits down, sits right on that thumbtack, goes yoink, stands straight up, boom, fucking gets picked off. And the one guy next to him just like leans back, and he looks at him. He's just, you did it. Way to go. Fucking 10 out of 10 prank. Like, oh my god. I don't know if it's a skit or if it's from like a wartime movie or it's supposed to be like a comedy about a war or something, but god damn it. God, did that tickle me. And I'm not gonna lie, I knew what was going on from the beginning, but I was like, I gotta see this through. Like, it's one thing to imagine it, but I really want to see how it goes down. Jesus, man, I feel like I'm playing Call of Duty. Like, I'm moving around, but I gotta, like, move my mouse so that way I can get to the, like, keep the stream going. So it's like I'm playing with a gun that has a ton of recoil, so when you shoot, like, you bring the mouse down with it, so that way you don't get that recoil, or you can at least stay straight on. That's what I feel like right now. Shelby's on her way home, so if I abruptly cut, I won't abruptly cut. I'll at least give a little like spiel and all that and say bye. But we're going for a walk, so we're taking our little wiener dog, Echo. Great dog, needy as fuck, and a little asshole sometimes. And we're trying to figure it out, but apparently a lot of dosh hounds, if you call it a wiener dog to somebody who owns a wiener dog, they get all pissy. Not me. I'm not like that. Come on, it's a wiener dog. If you don't call it a wiener dog, I don't think you're legally allowed to be able to have it. I mean, it's a meme dog. It's like a Shiba. Or one of those hose goats, the Burzois. Oh god, I love those. I'd get one, but I don't think they come in short hair. I'm sure they do, but I've never seen one. But something about him, he's just been I can only describe as resource guarding. Like, whoever he's laying on, you can't touch that person. But it doesn't matter he's laying with or on. He's just like, no, you can't touch the person I have. So that's why I think that's it. And I don't think that's a good behavior dogs have. I've read about it a little bit, but I also don't know if that's just a buzzword. But also, it's not like you're hitting, you're just kind of like playing, like you do little taps or whatever, just like, boop, 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 boop. He fucking like starts barking and like losing his mind. And we're trying to get him to play more, but he doesn't know his own bite strength, and he's a little dog, so he's got those fucking needle-like puppy teeth, but permanently. And fuck if he doesn't try and like get you sometimes. Because I think he's actually trying to have fun, but like, damn son, chill out a little bit. He plays too rough. For being a little dog, he's the one that plays too rough. think I got it. Oh, wait, wait. And then Bella, I don't know if Bella likes him or not. We haven't figured it out entirely. Bella's our other dog. She's like a hound mix or whatever. And she's a good dog, but she hates the sound of guns. So she'll never be a gun dog. If that makes sense. And they've tried teaching her. She's a hound, so she's supposed to be able to go and like get pigeons or whatever the fuck you know, fucking birds that you shoot. Like she's not gonna bring back like a deer, but they tried training her, and she's scared of gunshots. So they're like, okay, well, we'll try and like get her more familiar around guns. So they start shooting guns. They'll bring her out and then like start shooting guns and like try and get her like little doggy earmuffs to be like, okay, maybe it's just loud and it hurts her ears. Nope. Any little like boom, and she's gone, right? Well, she finally gets like more or less comfortable with them, so they take her out and they shoot a bird and they're like, oh great, okay, go get it, Bella. She comes back, fucking mouthful of feathers, like, I don't even know what we're doing out here, guys. I was just walking along and I found like this dead bird and I ate it. And yeah, I think we should leave. Like, this is dumb. Yeah, cool, I got a snack, but I don't think it's gonna happen again type shit. Like, that's the kind of sass this little dog brings. And I can only imagine that since she has no idea what the fuck the wilderness is or a forest, she just like looks up like, fuck, you're not my dad. Fuck. Okay, well, is there another guy out here that you've seen lately? Kind of looks like you, except not like you at all. He's wearing the same thing. I'm colorblind, I think. I don't know. You guys both have the best. I don't know. Like, just help me, man. Like, that's the conversations this dog has. But that's our little Bella. God, she's such a... And she doesn't have a tail, right? Because she had to get it lopped off. She broke it somehow. We honestly don't know. But we had like 6 dogs at one point. We were living at my parents' house, so there was a lot of dogs and they were all like together, right? So naturally, dogs might get hurt. Well, it just so happened that she got hurt. We take it to the vet, and the vet's like, well, the only way this could have happened is if someone grabbed her by the tail and then swung her around. And I'm like, she's 60 pounds. That's not happening. The only thing I could think of is my dad has a bunch of cars in the backyard. So, well, he used to. And the dogs like to crawl under because it's South Texas. It's fucking hot as balls. So they crawl and they get into the colder dirt that's underneath. And, you know, that's where they lay. So I'm wondering if she didn't do that and then get her tail caught underneath a tire when like the sand kind of like they dug too much and it got caught, or maybe even another dog like tugged on it too hard or bit it. I don't know. So she doesn't have a tail, long story short. So now her asshole is just exposed when she sits down. I mean, it was, right? But because when dogs sit, they like lift their tail up. But the problem is now when she's walking and stuff, you can see her butthole, and you can see that she's like putting it on things. Before, her tail was down or it would be wagging and you'd be like, okay, out of sight, out of mind. You don't think about it because you don't literally see her butthole. But now I think about it constantly, and now all I do is like wash the sheets every like 2 days. I wash the couch cushions every couple days. Her little bed that she has, it comes like you can take off the covering for it, so I take that off and wash it every couple days. And again, I'm sure the little one is doing the same thing when he sits down. I mean, they don't sit on their tail, but I can't see it, so it's fine. It's just the fact that I can see it that's the issue. And I bet you're probably thinking now, like, you know, maybe I should wash my sheets. My dog likes to sit on my bed a lot. Hey, man. Food for thought. That might be Shelby getting home. She was supposed to call me, but she might be on the phone with her dad. Man, that man just got a new phone. And it's an iPhone from an Android, and I don't know how much he's liking it. Because it was a jump for him to even get his last Android. like he had the old school phones, you know, that were still like if you put two of the iPhones together, like it was that kind of thickness, and it was that big because they hadn't figured out how to get like the battery to be like integrated well, I guess, or something. And it got to the point where before we upgraded to the new one, he's like, "Do you?" We took him to the place, and they're like, "Do you get cell signal with this thing? Like it connects to the towers?" And he's like, "I mean, I guess it does. I called up here to make this appointment." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And he recently deleted TikTok because he said it was getting him mad. I'm like, that's fair. Speaking of like getting him mad and like dads, I was watching another comedian today, and he was talking about like Fox News dads, and he was like, you know, that's all your dad watches Fox News for, just to get angry. And then, you know, when they're angry enough, they go to bed. They're like, I can't talk about this shit anymore, or they can't hear this shit anymore. I'm going to bed. I was like, huh. And that's the exact same energy he had of like, yeah, it's just making me mad with all these damn kids and all the blah blah. And I'm like, that's fair, man. That's fair. But I felt like everybody had the Fox News dad, especially like this last generation. You know, everybody who's probably like their mid to late 20s right now, and probably to their like 40s, like those 15 years. I think all of us had that kind of dad. Like they'd watch the news and they'd just, you know, watch it at like 10 o'clock, and then like at 10:15 they'd be like, ah, this fucking country's going to hell, and then they'd go to they'd go to bed, and it was like clockwork every night. Things come on 10 o'clock, they're angry by 10:15, and like, oh fuck it, Jennifer, I'm going to bed. I'm like, okay, dear. And then she like puts on her soaps or whatever the fuck's on at 10 o'clock. A Lifetime movie, who knows? Jesus Christ, this is the fucking dirty dinosaur. I'm just getting right up in there. Excuse me, I'm the bidet service you ordered. Like, oh yeah, just get right to it. Just. I've heard of people hooking up their bidet to their hot water heater. And I don't know if you know this, but hot water heaters get fucking hot. So I've heard of people like burning their coochies and shit. And like burning their ball bag and their assholes because they didn't know that you'd have to put it like on the cold side. Or they like they grabbed the wrong thing when they were hooking it up, and they're just like right up in there. Oh god, it's the best. Jesus, that was something. Now done with the dinosaur, hopefully. There it is. Stego slide done. Okay, it's the whole Stego slide, right? Alright. Okay, how's the circle in there? It's just like zooming along. Probably get the floor done and then walk over the other stuff. I'm telling you though, playing on PC, the controls are so much nicer, especially on the like this aiming mode. God, I've never played Call of Duty or any like shooter on a PC. Well, I have, but I've never used like the actual mouse and keyboard, and I think I've been missing out. Just gonna take a walk. Oh yeah, look at this. Just go. that is absolutely right. This is perfect for like kids with ADD or kids that can't focus. Just put this on, and I probably could listen to any lecture or anything that my teacher could do, and I'd probably have an A in the class. I don't really think I have ADD. I just forget shit all the time, but that also could be linked to, in high school, I played football. And my favorite thing to do was, get the sack, get the tackle, make the fucking blindside block almost on a return or whatever. And I'd be hyped. So we go up to the sideline, and I'd be there like, fuck yeah, yeah, take my helmet off and, hyping the crowd, blah, blah, blah. And then take my helmet off, and I'd start, like, headbutting helmets, like, yeah, let's go, fucking, like Baker Mayfield before Baker Mayfield started doing it. Well, I don't know, he's been doing it for a long time. But I went to high school in, like, 2013, so I don't know when he was doing it, but that's when I started doing it. Well, that's when I graduated, so I was doing it a little before then. So, I mean, I don't really blame ADD or ADHD. It's absolutely all that. Yeah, that. If anything, brain damage is actually probably what, like, CTE is really what I blame. Speaking of CTE, I think I heard, we were talking about, I think on the podcast, Tua Tagovailoa, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, something close to that. He's the guy that had the concussion, had 2 concussions, and he got checked out by an independent doctor, and the independent doctor was like, yeah, no, he's cool, throw him back in. Turns out he wasn't. He was a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, if you want to look it up. And they actually fired that doctor from being like the unbiased doctor. Because they, if you're a team doctor, you're like, yeah, they're gonna get paid to be like, oh no, he's great. Like, put the star quarterback back in the game. So that's why they use these independents, and they are no longer using this guy. He's been fired. And he should be, man. That guy, he got up, I think it was like week 8, he had the first concussion. And then he comes back week 11, 12. And then week 13, I think he has the second concussion. He stands up, and he's wobbly. And they're like, okay, well, we'll pull you out, and then during the half, we'll let you sit. And during halftime, we'll get you checked out, and we'll decide what we do after that. After halftime, he comes back out in full gear, ready to rock. And yeah, I think he ends up getting another concussion, and he's out for the rest of the season, like a couple plays later. I could be wrong on like the actual timeline. Either way, he should not have been playing. But yeah, that's my CT story and a little football for you. So it's got a little bit for everybody. Medical, high school, NFL. There you go. That's what I like to incorporate here. A lot of different story topics and elements. You know what I found out the other day? I found out that there's a friend of mine. He's got a friend, and he likes hanging out with him. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm not really a fan of him, but yeah, whatever. That's whatever. Ain't got nothing to do with me. If I ain't got to hang with him, that's cool. Well, they ended up getting like an apartment together. So now every time I go to hang out with him, hang out with the one friend, the other friend's there, and I'm like, fuck, this guy like sucks. Well, they ended up getting into an argument or whatever, and he's like, look, man, we've been best friends for a long time, but I think it's like, I think I should go. So he's just like, they're like moving out, and he's like, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, man. And besides, like, I never liked that one guy. And he's like, what one guy? And he's like, yeah, your friend. I don't think he ever liked me from like day one. And one of my friends was telling me about it, and I'm like, oh, absolutely not. Never did. I mean, I was always civil to him, but when they were talking, if they weren't looking directly at me, I was not listening. But when they were, I was like, oh, yeah. To be fair, they were shitty storytellers, and that's coming from me. And nothing they said what they said, nobody gave a shit about. It was like the most word vomity, logicless, just going nowhere story. Because at least my stories have an end. 5-6 minutes in, you're like, okay, this is a lot, and then boom, I'm done. Not these. They would just go on and on and on. And I would, midway through, I'd just start like, I'd pick up my phone and be like, okay, that's cool. Oh my god, please. I don't know how much you got. What do you mean? Oh, it's on the back of your head. There you go. And he's like, my friend was like, why didn't you ever tell me? And I'm like, I mean, for one, it's not my place. It's not my friend. I didn't want to hang out with them. Like, it had nothing to do with me. I'm like, well, I guess you're right. I'm like, yeah. Why would I tell you just to be a dick? Like, just to start drama? Like, that's not cool. But now that they're gone, oh, fuck them. So, you know. That's Shelby calling. There we go. All right, y'all. Unfortunately, this is the end of stream. Shelby and I are gonna go take the dogs on a walk with my father-in-law, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Check out the Discord, the YouTube. That's where you'll see this. If you're like, man, this guy is talking for a while, like he's all over the place. Uh, this will be on YouTube if you missed any of it. Check out the merch. I know I don't have any on right now, but it's really cool stuff. Check it out. It's more or less customizable, so you can change the colors to a certain extent. If we have the color, we absolutely will do it for you. We just ask that we still get to put the Chispees on the back. But check out the links. We have the Silly Billy, which is just a circle with the Silly Billy University, nice little college T-shirt, and then we have the Inadaptados, which is kind of more or less the same. But check it out, you might like it. Check out the YouTube for anything new. We do have two channels, a light mode and a dark mode one, Chispees Twitch archive, and the other one's just called Chispees. The Chispees ones has all our edited content, and then the Twitch archive, self-explanatory. Check out the Discord. It's usually dead, but I'm gonna be jumping in there a little more, and I'm gonna be streaming a lot more. So hopefully we get some new people in, fresh blood, and just revitalize everybody. Try and get some community stuff going on. I see a lot of other Discords that I'm a part of like do little things that work out really well with a like minimal prep on everybody for myself and you guys. So we might end up doing some of those. Just having maybe just like private streams in the Discord, or you guys get like first dibs on playing together when we do those multiplayer games. In any case, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Have a wonderful rest of whatever time of day it is for you, and remember, hang in there. Gets better. See ya.